The Mariners lost another game today despite Julio Rodriguez making history once again. So today, obviously, we took on the Cincinnati Reds, who are a team that's been pretty good this year. So I'm not totally mad about the loss. Obviously, losing to the Mets was a lot worse. But today, we lost to the Reds. Let me check, actually. Did Noelvi Marte, Jake Fraley, a couple former Mariners who are on the Reds, did they play today? Because that would be interesting if they did. I didn't catch the game. I was busy with college stuff. So Jake Fraley did play, and so did Noelvi Marte. They were combined over 5, but Marte did score a run. Fraley led off, played DH, and Noelvi Marte was playing third base. And yeah, Marte's been struggling this season. But anyways, that's just a fun little tidbit. As far as the Mariners go, yeah, the team didn't play very great today. JP, 1 hit. Julio, 1 hit. It was a home run, though, so, good for him. Teoscar also had 1 hit. Dominic Canzone, who was batting 4th today, he got a hit. Suarez 0 for 4. Ty France had 1 hit. And then Mike Ford was 2 for 4 with a home run. So Mike Ford had a pretty good day, and he has kind of been back lately. He's up to 15 home runs now on the season. So that puts him, I believe, 4th on the team behind Julio, Teoscar, and Cal. JP and Mike Ford both have 15. So they're tied for 4th, which is pretty impressive. 2 guys who I did not think were going to probably hit more than 5 home runs for us this season. I think going into the season, I think I said JP would hit 7, and I said Mike Ford would hit maybe 2. I didn't really think Mike Ford was going to be playing for us very much this year. And they have now combined for 30 home runs. And I wouldn't have, if you'd have told me, did JP and Mike Ford get 10 combined home runs going into the season, I probably would have said no. And now they have 30. So that's been huge. But anyways, not enough. Josh Rojas, he goes 0 for 3. And then Brian O'Keefe goes 0 for 2. Cal Raleigh came in pinch hit and got a couple base knocks. But it turns out not to be enough because the Mariners only 1 double and just not enough guys on base. Only 1 walk today. That was from Josh Rojas. So, starting pitcher for the Reds was a guy named Antone, who I've never even heard of. TJ Antone. This is his first. I guess this is his 3rd season. In fact, it looks like this may have been his first. Yeah, today was his 2nd start of his big league career, or his first start of this season. So not of his career, but of the season. His 5th start total. So a guy who literally has barely pitched at all in his career, TJ Antone, and he shut us down, struck out 3, and then they kind of did a bit of a bullpen day. They ended up using 6 pitchers. So yeah, the Mariners could not get a hit for the life of themselves against the Reds bullpen. So a couple solo home runs, that's how we get our runs. And we did have a chance in the 9th inning. Julio came up with 2 outs, 2 on, and he struck out looking, which is a very Julio thing to do. I know he's been good lately. I know he's been playing out of his mind the past month. He did just win Player of the Month in August, same as Andres Munoz, actually, Player of the Month, relief pitcher of the month. But Julio still struggles in clutch situations, and today he showed that. So the Mariners, we have now lost 3 of our last 4, and we've lost 4 of our last 6. The good news, during those 6 games that we are 2-4, the Rangers are also 2-4, but the Houston Astros, they won today. They beat the Rangers. They are 3-3 in their last 6 games, and they have now tied us again for the division. So, the Mariners, obviously, you have to take advantage. Right now, the Astros and the Rangers are playing each other, so one of them is bound to lose each and every night, which means this is an opportunity. Like, if we get a sweep and they split, obviously we can't get a sweep because we already lost game 1, but if we had, imagine if we had swept and they had split, now we've gained at least 1 game on both of them. So that could have been huge. We could have potentially walked away with 2 games up on Texas and 1 on Houston, or with potentially 1 on Texas, 2 on Houston, but instead we're tied with Houston and still just the 1 game up on Texas. So it's still very close. I'm not worrying yet. Okay, and this is the thing. It's like the question that I think is on every Mariners fan's mind right now is, how soon is it acceptable to start getting worried again? because obviously, you know, we were at one point in the season we were 4 games below 500, right? We went 7-2 in the last 9 games before the All-Star break, and so we went into the All-Star break 1 game above 500. After the All-Star break, for 18 games, we were pretty much an average team. We were 10-8 in the 18 games after the All-Star break. So now we're 3 above 500. And then all of a sudden, pretty much out of nowhere, we go on a 20-4 stretch. And so we go from 3 above to 19 above. And we go from 10.5 games out of the division to 1 game in the lead of the division. But then, after going 20-4 in our past 6 games, we are 2-4. So we have lost as many games in the past 6 as we did in the previous 24. I'm not concerned yet, but I understand if people are getting concerned. Has the magic run out? I don't think it has. Okay, we still have Julio and JP who are playing really well. But look at the schedule, right? We've got Cincinnati for 2 more games. I'm going to say we split those 2. Then we got the Rays for 4. I'm going to say we split those as well. So now that's 3-3. Then we host the Angels. I think we take 2 of 3 there. So that puts us at 5-4. Then we host the Dodgers. I think we lose 2 of 3. So that puts us at, because the Dodgers are a good team, that puts us at 6-6. Then we've got 3 against Oakland. I think we will win 2 of 3 there. So it will be 8-7 in the next 15. That would put us, we currently have 77 wins. That would put us at 85 wins. Okay? 85 wins and 67 losses. Our last 10 games, 3 against Texas, 3 against Houston, 4 against Texas. That is going to decide the season. So I'm going to predict, and again, maybe this is a little bit pessimistic of me. I think we lose 2 of 3 to Texas. That puts us at 9-9. Then we take 2 of 3 against Houston. That puts us at 11-10. And then that final 4 games against Texas, I think we split it. So I think the Mariners are going to go, we have 25 games left. And I think that the Mariners are going to go 13-12 in our last 25 games. If we do that, it would put us at 90 wins. It would be our 3rd straight 90-win season. And it would probably be enough to make the playoffs. I'm not sure if 90 wins the division, but let's just play this game right now. Let's look at the Texas Rangers schedule and let's see what I think about their schedule, okay? So Texas right now they have 76 wins. So can they get to 90? They've got 2 more against Houston. I think they split those 1-1. Then they get 3 at home against Oakland. I think they probably sweep that. So now they're 4-1. Then they go to Toronto in a huge series for Toronto and for Texas. I think they split that series. Now you're 6-3. And then you take 2 of 3 on the road in Cleveland. Now you're 8-4. Home against Boston, I think they take 2 of 3 there. Now they're 10-5. And then I'm saying they take 2 of 3 against Seattle. Now they're 12-6. You go to LA, I think they take 2 of 3 there. Now they're 14-7, and they split with Seattle 16-9. That puts Texas at 92 wins. So their schedule is easier than ours, which gives me some cause for concern. And then let's look at Houston. Where do I have Houston? They have 78 wins right now. So they have Texas for 2. I think they split. They host San Diego. I'm gonna say they take 2 of 3 there. So now you're 3-2. 3 at home against Oakland. I think they sweep that. Now you're 6-2. Then you go to Kansas City. They take 2 of 3 there. Now you're 8-3. Then you host Baltimore. I think they lose 2 of 3 against Baltimore. So now you're 9-5. But then they host Kansas City. I think they sweep that. Now you're 12-5. I have them losing 2 of 3 to Seattle, 13-7, and then they go to Arizona last season of the series. I think they win 2 of 3, so that puts them at 15-8, and that puts the Astros 15 plus 78 is 93. So I am saying I think the Astros 93 wins, Texas 92, Seattle at 90. So we do finish 3rd in the division by my predictions right now. Maybe that seems bleak, but I feel like that's pretty good because our schedule is the hardest out of the 3, just looking at it. because the Astros have Kansas City for 6 games, Arizona, who's been going downhill, San Diego, who sucks, and Oakland, who sucks. They have a lot of easy games, and Texas, obviously. So now, here's the kicker, though. Because if 90 wins, then that means we have to compete for that wild card. So let's look at the Toronto Blue Jays. Look at their schedule. Because the Blue Jays are the other team that's in that hunt for the wild card right now. The Blue Jays are at 76 wins right now. So what are they? They have the A's for the next 2. I think they probably win both. And then they host Kansas City. I think they take 2 or 3 there. Now you're 4-1. I say they split those 4 against Texas. That puts them at 6-3. I think they take 2 of 3 at home against Boston. That puts them at 8-4. At New York, I think they win. I think they probably win 1 game at New York. Now you're 9-6. And then at Tampa, they win 1 game there. Now you're 10-8. Then you host New York, 2 of 3. I see them winning 2 of 3. Now you're 12-9. So now you've got 88 wins there. Then you host Tampa. I think they win 1 of those games. So I think the Blue Jays also are going to go 13. I think the Blue Jays go 13-11 in their final 24. And that, unfortunately for them, puts them at 89 wins. I have the Mariners beating the Blue Jays out for the last wildcard spot by 1 game. So last year, the Mariners obviously beat the Blue Jays in a 3-game series in the wildcard series. This time, I think the Mariners beat them to the wildcard series by 1 game. So both years, the Blue Jays get eliminated by the Mariners. And wouldn't that be sweet? Considering the rivalry, obviously Canadians always coming down to Seattle. Those games are always super hype, and one of our biggest rivalries, I think. So by my current projections, I do think the Mariners are making the playoffs. I think we make the 3rd wild card. Then we have a road series against Minnesota. Okay. So how are we gonna fare in a road series against Minnesota? I think we honestly can win that series. Minnesota's not very good. And then from there, we would play the 2 seed, which by my projections would end up being Houston. We fared pretty well against Houston this year. And I don't know, man. I feel like that's a winnable so I'm not saying World Series. I don't think we make the World Series. But if we get in this scenario that I have us in, if we are the number 6 seed, we have to win series against the Twins, who are worse than us, and the Astros, who I do think finish with a better record, but head-to-head, we have them easily. So we're 8-2 right now, and I think we win that last series as well. So we'll be 10-3 against them in the regular season. I still think that an AL championship game appearance for the Seattle Mariners is more than possible. And I just went through it all in my head. I just outlined how we're going to get there. So comment down below if you don't think it's possible. But I didn't even get to the main news of the day. If you made it this far of the video, congratulations. Julio Rodriguez is the first player in MLB history to have a 25 home run, 25 stolen base season in his first and second season. That is impressive. And Julio continues to be just an absolute beast on the field. So Julio now, if you look at the Mariners, go to his stats, this is pretty cool. Julio, in his career, he has 53 home runs and 61 stolen bases in his career. He is the fastest player to reach that 50 club, and the fastest to reach the 50-60 club. And his career batting average is 284, and his current regular season batting average 284. He's a good player. Like, there's no other way to put it. Julio Rodriguez is a good baseball player. But other than that, guys, that's all I have for you today. Comment down below. Do you agree with my final predictions? Do you agree with everything I just went through? If that is what happens, then the season's going to come down to the wire, and the Mariners, like usual, are going to have us on the edge of our seats. But I do think that we are making the playoffs probably as a wild card, and we're going to give ourselves a very nice opportunity to make a decent run at the AL Championship Series. I'm not going to talk about the World Series right now. I can't do that yet. But I seriously think the championship game is within reach. So, there you go. This has been the NW Sportscast. Like, comment, subscribe.